Welcome to It's Good to Have Goals with Bob and Ryan.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of It's Good to Have Goals. I'm Bob. That's Ryan. This week's show, we'll be talking about the news. Ryan, what happened this week in soccer?
Well, our fifth game, our sort of hodgepodge of other games around the league. Is that how you use the word?
Sure,
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
We'll start with Tottenham beating Leicester with 2 Harry Kane goals.
Harry Kane.
Dominant performance from Tottenham really showed they're probably going to be a European team this year, which is good for them. They need that. They need European football to keep bringing in the funds. You get West Ham beating Watford in that relegation 6-pointer. Watford subsequently fires their coach, who's taken them from 20th out of the relegation zone. So that was an odd decision. Real Madrid win the La Liga season, sort of in easy manner, as I said they would.
Yep.
What is it now? 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago.
Give you credit for that one.
So Real Madrid wins the league. Barcelona finishes second. Atletico Madrid finishes third. Sevilla gets fourth. So those are your Champions League teams. Villarreal gets fifth. Sociedad 6th and Granada 7th. Granada, a recently promoted team, jumped all the way up from the second division to 7th place, and European football is really good for them. And FC Porto win the Portuguese title. It was close for a while between them and Benfica, the two dominant figures of Portuguese soccer, but Porto pulled away at the end and
good
probably deserved winners. Then we go to our relegated teams. Mallorca, Leganés, and Espanyol are all relegated from La Liga. And Spal has been relegated from Serie A.
Spal?
Spal, S-P-A-L.
Oh, right.
I don't know what it stands for. I think it's like Sportiva something. Chelsea and Arsenal. Chelsea and Arsenal both advanced past the two Manchester teams. Arsenal beating Man City 2-1. Chelsea beating Man United 3-1 to make it to the FA Cup final. I already said in the previous reviews section, we talked a little bit about Arsenal there. So go watch that one if you want. There's another plug for the second week in a row.
Nice.
But I said Arsenal, I think, are going to win that game. I really like the direction they're heading in Arteta. And then Ronaldo scores twice for Juve as they beat Lazio and essentially win the league in that game. So good for them. Not good for them, not good for the neutral.
Right.
You get, I think it's the ninth straight Scudetto for Ronaldo, or for Juve. The second since Ronaldo's been there.
What'd you call that?
Scudetto.
Scudetto?
Means some sort of title. I think it means title in Italian. It could mean something else though.
Nice. All right, our Americans that are playing soccer overseas, who are we looking at this week that we liked?
We'll go to Europe first, and Pulisic getting an assist against Norwich. He continues to be the hot man in England. Weston McKinney, Serginho Dest, Anthony Robinson, Zach Steffen, and Charlie Kalman are all looking for transfers. We'll start with McKinney. Probably the player of the year at Schalke this year has been rumored with Chelsea and Liverpool moves. He's nowhere near that good of a player to be playing for Chelsea and Liverpool. He shouldn't be getting those links, and I don't think any of those will happen. I think you see more of a mid-table Premier League team come for him.
But they'll definitely get traded, you feel?
I think he's gone. I think he wants out. I think he wants to leave. I think Schalke, in the financial predicament that they're in, need to sell. When there's a player want to leave, and a desire to sell, usually it gets done. Dest, the right back, I don't really think he's all that great. He's a really good attacking player, not that good of a defensive player. So he's sort of not really a right back, just sort of a right-sided player. But he can even play on the left. He's been rumored with Barcelona and Bayern. I think Bayern are in for him. I think he could really get a chance starting for Bayern next year, just the way they play. So that's good for him. Anthony Robinson is currently at Wigan, who are in financial distress, so there's definitely a desire to sell there. There's definitely a desire to move. AC Milan were interested in him in January. I think that could be a location for him. Zach Steffen is the current Manchester City goalkeeper, the backup. He was on loan last year. He'll probably go out on loan again. Maybe to a Premier League team. Maybe he'll go back to Germany. Maybe he'll go to Spain. You never know. With Man City, they've got their hands dipped in everywhere. Charlie Kalman is an interesting player, a young player, 18 years old for relegated third division side Southend in England. So yes, it's the third tier of England, which probably makes him a solid level starter in the MLS. That's probably how I would put him. He was their leading goal scorer this year. I would expect other League One teams, other third division teams to come looking at him Obviously, as Southend, as I previously said, we're relegated to the 4th tier. He'll definitely probably be a 3rd-tier striker next year. You could even see him get some minutes in the Championship, the 2nd division. So that's good for him. And then there's some other players looking for first-team football and promoted from the youth side. So Alex Mendez at Ajax, Richie Ledesma, who's from Phoenix, Arizona, at PSV, Chris Richards at Bayern. There's one more.
And all these are trades?
No, just players that are currently in youth setup somewhere that could get promoted to the first teams. Ulysses Yanez at Wolfsburg, Conrad de la Fuente, who scored 2 at the week for Barcelona B, won't be one of those players that's looking to make Barcelona's first team, but he should be a key player for Barcelona's second team next year. And then our MLS is back.
MLS is back.
Jeremy Ebobisse fires Portland into the round of 16. Ebobisse, I'm not really 100% sure how to say it, but he's sort of on the outside looking in for the U.S. men's national team, as is kind of Giassi Zardes, but he's more of the inside, on the inside, hopefully looking out.
When do they start playing again?
The U.S. men's national team?
Yeah.
Depends whenever international figures start up again. I'm not really sure.
Nothing
they
scheduled?
schedule independently from everyone else, but he does the same for Columbus. Both those teams, Portland and Sivas, are into the round of 16 with flying colors. Kellen Acosta and Jonathan Lewis scored for Colorado off the bench in a loss to Sporting Kansas City. Ayo Akinola scores 3 for Toronto. And I've been really impressed with Akinola since the restart. He was the backup for Josie Altidore last year, but at the same time, a really talented young player in the USU 20 setup. He should start to slowly integrate past Altidore in the first team, and eventually you would look to him to be sort of an Altidore-esque figure in the U.S. men's national team. He's built the same, he plays the same. So he's sort of like a clone. He's a clone of Altidore who plays on the same team as Altidore. So he's a good sort of backup type player. And then Chris Mueller, my boy, gets 2 more for Orlando. He should be getting looks for the U.S. men's national team. I don't know if he ever will, which would be a shame. He'll probably go down as one of those guys that consistently scored in MLS but never got to the United States men's national team.
Well, that would be a shame. We'll have to keep an eye on. What do we got in the news this week?
Lots of transfers, lots of confirmed transfers, lots of coach firings, which always happen, but we'll start with something completely different. The Court of Arbitration we'll start with something completely different. The Court of Arbitration of Sport has received a lot of backlash from the Premier League managers based on their Man City decision to say they can play Champions League football next year. Jose Mourinho wasn't happy. Jurgen Klopp wasn't happy. A few other managers like Wolves, and you know for a fact there's other managers that won't speak out. Wolves' manager, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer of Manchester United, but you know for a fact that they're probably not too delighted with the decision either. Brendan Rodgers certainly wasn't happy with it, even though he didn't say anything about it. Huddersfield fired the Cowley brothers. I think one's Danny, I forget the other one. Even though they just beat West Brom, who were in second in the league.
And what did the Cowley brothers do for
They were their
Huddersfield?
managers. They were both of them managed the team together. 2 guys working tandem together to win. That jumped them out of the relegation zone. They've been fired. They reportedly want to hire Carlos Corberan, who's sort of an assistant of Marcelo Bielsa at Leeds. He's kind of like Mikel Arteta light, so to speak. So I think that would be a good hire for them. Dean Henderson to Chelsea, perhaps, the Sheffield United goalie, who's probably going to win goalie of the year in the Premier League. He's on loan from Manchester United. So now you've got Chelsea who are interested in him. Manchester United might keep him next year. And Sheffield United are definitely interested in him. So you've got a lot of teams trying to grab Dean Henderson.
It's good to be wanted.
Jude Bellingham is confirmed to Dortmund, the 16-year-old kid.
16.
$25 million, potentially up to 11 to 15 million on add-ons, so it could reach as high as 40 million for a 16-year-old. That makes him on the base salary, I think it makes him the 11th most valuable teenager ever.
Crazy.
And if he gets to the 40 million, it makes him the 3rd most valuable teenager ever.
Well, we wish him well.
And then Jorge Jesus is named the Benfica coach. The last year he was at Flamengo in Brazil, where he won absolutely everything. He won the league. He won the Copa America. Not Copa America. What's it called? The Copa Libertadores. He got them to almost won the FIFA Club World Cup, where best teams from each continent play each other. So that's a good hire for And an interesting move for Jesus, where I think if I was him, he's had somewhat subtle success in Europe, but this was the first time where he really dominated everything in Brazil. I would have stayed at Flamengo, which is a big club. Even though they're in South America, you don't hear a lot about big clubs in South America. You only ever hear about the European giants. It's probably a club that could have played on a Premier League level this year, which is rare for a European or for a South American team. There's going to be no Ballon d'Or this year due to the stoppage. Tiago to Liverpool is a similar sort of signing to Bellingham, even though Tiago is much better currently. He's going to if Tiago signs for Liverpool, it's been rumored for $25 million, which is half the price I would pay for him. I think he's a $50 million player. He probably slots right into that Liverpool team. That's a great signing. Watford, we talked about them losing that game to West Ham, that relegation 6-pointer. They fired their manager, Nigel Pearson, and they probably have a replacement set up because they always do. They've had 4 managers in the last year. I don't get the firing at all, really. It makes no sense. I would let him finish out the season, and then if you want to keep him, you keep him. If you don't want to keep him, you get rid of him. But I think he had to finish the season because they played pretty well under him. So, it's really surprising. I was sort of shocked when I found out about it. And then the MLS delays the start of 3 of their franchises, expansion franchises. So they have 4 expansion teams coming into the wings. I think one is Charlotte, one is Austin, one is Sacramento, and one is St. Louis. So Austin is scheduled to join next year. Their delay has not been delayed. They're still going to be an MLS team next year. Sacramento is, I think, 2028. So they're way down the road.
Wow.
They're very down the road. I think 2026 might be Charlotte. And then 2024, I think, is Sacramento. So all 3 of those have been delayed.
Nothing on the horizon for Phoenix here?
Nope. They need to own their stadium first, I guess, the land.
All right.
And then I think that's all we've got for news. And again, we'll touch on it again like we did in the review episode. In the future, with Europe only having really 1 more week left of soccer, we don't know if we really want to cover 4 games of MLS a week. So we might just make this news episode the only episode we really have.
We'll figure it out.
Keep an eye on that. We don't know yet, but we'll figure it out within the next 2 weeks, I guess, 3 weeks.
Well, great show. Appreciate it. Y'all have a great week. Thank you so much.